Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope all of you have been good. Recently the detox mode just arrived for the Skyline series, and a lot of people have been requesting me to share about the detox mode to understand better what it can do. And I think a lot of the more important question is that is it going to increase the battery life, and how much useful the detox mode going to be. So that's something that I'm going to share in this video, and as well as the latest update also bumps the security update to September, and also includes some critical camera fixes that I'm sure that a lot of fans out there are eager to know what is the current state of the Skyline. Now upfront, I need to somewhat praise HMD Global for actually taking the initiative to fix the complaints that I've been forwarding them to. So we are getting fixes to certain issues that I've brought in the past. It's not quite there yet, but at this point of time, if you were to ask me how good the device is, I would say that it's definitely a must-have if you're a fan of HMD or Nokia devices in the past. It's actually quite a good device, and I've been using it as my daily driver, and I find that the device is really something that complements the current trend of devices, which looks trendy, powerful, and beautiful. Now, before I go further, this is the Skyline case. A lot of people have been asking me about this case as well. At the moment, it's only available in the European country. The rugged case is actually available in Asian countries for a much cheaper price, but unfortunately, this is not available. Now, what do I think about this case? I definitely love it because it doesn't add into the bulk of the device itself. Would it provide me additional protection? Yes, because the frames of it are actually hard. Okay, so they're not really rubber. They actually feels more like a plastic with some mix of certain rubbery parts in them. So the buttons for the rubber parts are actually very soft, very nice in hand, and inside here what you have is somewhat like a fabric kind of texture to it. So really beautiful case, really practical. And if you were to see the color resembles that of the Nokia N9. The device itself, the Skyline Topaz Blue itself, resembles the Nokia N8's color palette, but the case resembles closely to the cyan that we see in the Nokia N9. So if all I have one complaint is that a lot of people have been saying that the magnetic strength of the Skyline is not as good as the competitors out there. And just to show you how strong the magnet is actually, so this is how the grip is. Now with this, you can actually keep your device vertical without any support on the side, and it doesn't turn. Now, how strong is this if you were to use it as a car mount, a magnetic car mount, and you're driving fast and you might be on a bump? Now that is something that probably would not be suitable for a device like Skyline. And as you can see, I'm just shaking the magnetic contact. It's not going to come out easily, but eventually I believe it will start to slide, and that it will lose the contact of its magnetic connection, and that's where you might fall. But as you can see, it's pretty much strong, and I'm shaking it. Now, the one way for HMD to ensure that the magnetic strength is good is to include an additional magnetic component to the case itself to enhance the grip strength of the device. So this is something I've seen on cases made for devices like Samsung devices. So something that HMD should look into, to add in a magnetic component to the case itself, so you get a stronger magnetic contact that nobody else in the world is going to question about in the future. So this is something that you must have. It's a shame that it's not being introduced yet to the other countries at this point of time. I do hope that they bring it soon. So coming to the detox mode, it is not going to be showing up as a separate app on your device. In fact, it only comes up as a widget that you need to add to the home screen. So it's not going to be available upright once you've updated it. You have to add it as a widget to your home screen, and then that's where you access it. Now, what the detox mode does here is that it curates the app into certain categories, and you can choose which of it that you would like to be accessible to in the detox mode. So this is not exactly like dumbing down your phone, but allows you to focus on a certain aspect of the device that you want to use. So if I want to use for productivity purposes, probably I just want to check my Google Drive or go through my OneDrive, then I can just allow that to be available and shut down the others. And if I feel like I want to socialize, probably I just activate Instagram and I shut down the others. Now similarly, when you go to the contacts option, then it allows you to add the contacts of certain people that can reach you when you are in a detox mode, and the others will be automatically be cancelled. So this is something really interesting. I think this is something crucial so that important people can be connected to you if needed. Now, once you click activate, then what it does is there's something called a soft lock and a hard lock. So you can either customize it to have the detox mode to be available at a certain hours, for example, for a duration of 1, 2, or 4 hours, or you can even customize it to any duration that you want, or you can even schedule it when you want the detox mode to kick in and how long you want it to be. Now with soft lock, what it does is that once you activate it, then for you to deactivate it, you go back to the widget and you can deactivate. For example, I have activated, and for example, the phone will be locked for 24 hours. This is what I've activated, and that's fine. Now in order for me to deactivate it, so I can just go here and I immediately go back to the standard device, the standard mode that I have. Now the other option is to do a hard lock. So with hard lock, the only way for you to return back to the normal mode would be to reboot your device. So this is in case you don't want to have accidentally unlock it and things like that. So you just go into the hard lock mode, so that the only way to go back to the normal mode will be the so-called reboot option. So that's the only way for you to get access to. So this depends on how much you can tolerate your detox level. I know some people might find it difficult and they might want to return back to the normal mode after some times because they're not that strong enough. But with the hard lock option, and it's not going to be easy because now you have to reboot your device every time you feel like you're failing the detox aspect of the device. Now the other thing about the detox mode is that you can actually set the wallpapers. So if you go to the wallpapers, you can see that quite similar to what we have in the device itself, but the colors are slightly muted to tell you that you are in a detox mode. So will the detox mode save the battery? Yes, but it doesn't do that by drastically reducing the power consumption. It basically just reduces the usage of the battery itself by certain other apps. So that's how it's going to save battery, I suppose, but it doesn't really throttles down the performance like you've seen in the power saving mode. And the thing about the detox is it's not just to give you peace from having to so-called get your own personal time away from work or things like that, but it allows you to use the apps that you want to use and just focus on the things that you want to do the most without having the distraction of having to entertain the other aspects of the device. So this is something really cool with the detox mode. Now coming to the camera, so I'm going to share with you a couple of things with the camera. Now the focus issue of the camera has finally been solved. So now you do get 100% precise lock of the subject that you want, but do take note that the 108 megapixel sensor has a certain amount of focal distance for it to lock. So this is something that you might want to know because up and close about subject might not be in focus. That is something to do with the focal distance rather than a bug. So other than that, the focus issue has been solved. Now the second real hard issues that I had with the camera has to do with the drop in frame rate and stability. So I'm going to share with you some samples here, and I noted that for 4K stability we got excellent stability with 1080p 60 frames per second. I would say it's the same with the 4K 30 frames per second. Stability is good. You don't really see the frame rate drop, but it's of course it's not going to be as smooth as the 60 frames from the 1080. So the 4K 30 frames per second is very much stabilized. That's not I would say that no noticeable drop in frame rates, but it's not as smooth as the 60 frames, and that is because of the number of frames that it records. When it comes to the ultra steady mode, the 1080p 60 frames per second ultra steady mode is definitely stable. You don't actually notice any drop in the frame rate, but what you have is the jello effect on the bottom half of the video. This is something that I think has to do with the OIS itself, because I know that the OIS causes a certain movement with each step, and this is something that the software has to counter if they want to create a stable video. And this part of it, HMD has not nailed that aspect of it yet, but is something that I hope that they will address in the upcoming updates. And when it comes to 4K 30 frames per second, you don't really see the wobbly effect in the lower half of the screen because maybe it is cropping more into the scenario that we are recording in, so you don't really see that. But what you see is that there is some drop in the frame rate. It's not as bad as it was before. You do have a usable video, but it is not as smooth as you want. It's definitely not at 30 frames per second. So the good thing is the major part of the device, the focus and the normal recording mode, stability, everything is beautiful. The ultra steady mode, there are some fixes, but it's not quite there yet, but it's something that I don't usually quite use often. So I do hope this gives HMD some time to rectify and fix this issue with the coming update. So with that said, I hope that you enjoyed this simple video, and I hope to see you in the next one.